We didn't have all this incoming info from every which way, and we didn't start off doubting ourselves. I think if you use common sense, things will be fine.
Welcome, everyone. We're doing great.
Absolutely.
Today might be my favorite episode of all time, although we have yet to actually start recording. And that's because two of my favorite people on earth are here. My mom and my Bubbie, who's my grandmother, are here to talk about multi-generational parenting. And we talk about this all the time, like at the kitchen table, on the floor of my living room with my kids. And we wanted to bring that conversation out into the open because we know so many of you are having these talks at home with your loved ones as well. And we want to get into some of the nitty-gritty and the differences between parenting from a 90-year-old all the way down to me, who's a 36-year-old, and somebody right in the middle. So buckle up. Today is going to be interesting. Can you introduce yourselves and tell us your age, your name, and how many kids you have and how old they are?
Okay, believe it or not, I'm almost 90, 6 weeks from now. I have 3 children. They're all seniors, which hard for me to believe.
It is.
My oldest is 67, 65, 62. 61, I think.
61.
61. Colin's still 61. And that's wild. I can't believe that I have such old children and I'm as old as I am.
We don't look old, luckily. Okay, Mom, how old are you? How many kids do you have?
I have 2. I'm 67, and I have Melissa, 38, and Ryan.
Nope, 36.
Oh, you know what? I have Melissa at 36 and Ryan at 38.
Okay.
I can't believe their lives and how grown up and how successful and how I have children that age.
Just for context, as a reminder, everyone, I have 2 kids. I have a 3.5-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Funny how you suddenly forget.
I know. So you could say we're all in the thick of it in different ways, but obviously very different stages of life. And really the way that I wanted to open this up is to just talk about like what it was like when you first became a mom.
I was 23 when I had my first child. I was terrified because we didn't discuss children. We didn't discuss childbirth. We didn't discuss much. We're on our own. We'll just figure it out as it comes. I think what most of us did was use our common sense, which is really, I think, how we raise our children. Common sense, kindness. I remember one day when I was holding Debbie in my arms, and maybe she was 7 or 8 days old. And I remember sitting in the rocking chair and holding her and rocking her and loving every second and thinking, this child depends on me for everything. I'm terrified. What if I make a mistake? And I thought to myself, this is terrible. But I didn't tell anybody. Well, I found out many years later that a lot of women become very depressed when they have that thought.
Mm.
And that really sends them rolling.
So when you say you guys didn't talk about children or childbirth and that when you had those feelings postpartum with your first kid, was there anyone?
There was nobody. I had talked to nobody.
Mm.
And it was very interesting. I thought to myself, I'm going to have to figure this all out. I didn't even tell my husband. I didn't tell Dad about this. It was really interesting. I thought,
Why do you think you didn't tell him?
because I thought this was my responsibility.
How was your experience in comparison, Mom?
I think it was different. I wanted children from as far back as when I was 8 years old. Very clearly. I remember knowing exactly when that occurred to me.
Really?
When we were on Nymark and I was playing out front with a couple little girls. So I was like, I'm ready. When I had Ryan, it was just like, this is what I'm here for.
How old were you when you had Ryan?
29. And when we got up to the room in the hospital, Dad was exhausted. So I said to him, you go lie down in the bed because I don't want you to have to drive home tired. And I was sitting in the chair by the bed nursing. And the nurse walked in and said, why are you not in bed? And I said, because this is where I want to be. And I was very like, I've arrived to motherhood and this is what I want.
Was it what you thought it was going to be?
Yeah. Yep.
Actually, when Debbie was born, I could not stop talking and I couldn't go to sleep because I kept saying, do you realize what just happened to you? You're a miracle maker. You're like, this is wild.
That's so true. I still say that all the time to my kids. And I often tell Oliver, my 3-year-old that I'm like, I made you.
Yeah.
It's such a miracle.
It
And,
really is such a miracle. Crazy.
so Mom, when you, in contrary to Bubbie, like when you had Ryan,
Mhm.
were you guys talking about did you warn her? Did you tell her any, like, how was that conversation and dynamic
know.
going
There
on?
really wasn't.
warning.
No,
there was no warning because
no.
it was a natural thing to be doing, to
Yeah,
have children.
it wasn't a thing.
It wasn't a thing.
You told us when you were pregnant. I said, great. I know what you've been doing.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I don't think it was a thing. I don't think there was a lot of oversharing in our generation
No.
either. Like, I
That's
think
true.
it was just two friends had kids the same time as I had Ryan. So is yours colicky? No. Is this one colicky? No. Ryan was colicky. So, but
Yeah.
other than that, there wasn't a lot of comparing notes
Right.
and going through every little everything about what was going on in the day unless there was an issue.
What was a good mom to you?
I think I wanted to have a happy child, and I thought I knew what I could do, and I didn't know what I didn't know, and learned along the way.
What about for you, Mom?
To me, being a good mom was making sure we had stability, consistency in life so that Dad could come home from work and not have to think about, oh, do I have to do this and this and this? But he had time to play with you guys. He had weekend time. It wasn't like I expected 14 different things from him because I was only doing kid stuff during the day.
So being a good mom to you was very deeply aligned with running the household and being a good partner.
Yeah, I'm just making sure things were running smoothly so it was easier for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
It was also important for a woman to be cooking, cleaning,
Yes.
baking.
We did all that.
We did all that.
Why do you mean it was important for a woman to be doing that?
Because in my time, it was women had their babies when they were much younger because they got married, they were much younger. And they were also able to stay at home. So there was one salary. You just made do with what you had and what you didn't have. And you figured stuff out. And it was, par for the course.
Did you have dreams outside of motherhood?
When my youngest child started kindergarten, I thought, now what do I do with my life? And I had been a school teacher, elementary school in Montreal. And I thought I'd go back to teaching. So I started to do volunteer work at the school, which was right behind our house. And after doing that for a while, I thought, what in the heck am I doing? I can't go back to teaching. I have 3 children. I'm cooking, cleaning, baking. My husband works very often till 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. I can't count on him to be home every day. I thought, am I crazy? So I decided at that point, no, I'm not going back to teaching. I eventually did go back to teaching many years later. But at that time, I started to take pottery lessons and I became a potter.
Was there help? Like,
I had zero help because my family lived in Montreal. It took a little while until I developed a circle of friends. And we were all in the same boat. We all, would talk to each other, but we really didn't help each other as far as babysitting and stuff like that.
when you look at my generation, I'm a millennial. I have 2 young kids. What do you think of the way that I'm raising my kids in comparison to how you were?
I don't know how you're doing it because you're doing everything. You're cooking, you're cleaning, you're baking, you're traveling, you're a mom, you're nursing, you're here, you're there, you're everywhere. I don't know how you're doing it.
I mean, I have help. I have what I call like the village. I mean, so many people are helping me. We have a part-time nanny. We have daycare. We have my parents. I have a husband who has like a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, I don't think any of it's easy, but just the thought of being completely alone, especially in those early years when you're not leaving the house, does sound honestly daunting. But like, Mom, what was it like for you?
I didn't have help either.
I think that's where the expectations also really different. Like your generation of mothers were more often than not home with young kids
Yes.
and weren't expected also to have a full-time job necessarily. Like I think many women did, and you both worked throughout that period. But I wonder if you were the exception to that.
I went back after Ryan and then couldn't wait to be able to stay home. It was very complicated, but we wanted to secure our future, pay off the house, get out of
Mhm.
the neighborhood. There was no help, but when I was home with you, even once I was home full time, we'd go to different play groups, either for you, for Ryan. There were some women who were there without nannies. There were women who came with their nannies, socialized, and the nannies did the play group.
I'm sensing some judgment.
No.
No?
I
Okay.
mean, no, but they're coming to do play group with their kids, and their nannies are doing the play group, and there's socializing, there's nothing wrong with socializing, but it was just very interesting. Can't you come on your own? Like, I had women say, I don't know how you're managing 2 kids by yourself. They had help. Their lives were about lunching and shopping and like a very different sort of lifestyle. I mean, I had people who said, well, I don't change diapers. My nanny does that. So no, in the play group.
Really?
Oh yeah, I didn't have help. But it was fine because that was, to me, that was what I signed up for.
It sounds like that was
my dream.
that was the dream.
Yeah, it was. So I didn't resent it.
I think when in parenting, we're all so hyper obsessed about, are we doing it right? And that's why we called this podcast We're Doing Great, because of the fundamental belief that if you care enough to wonder, am I doing a good job? You already are most likely doing great.
Right.
And we parent in public now on social media.
Yes.
Everything is out there for the taking.
Yeah.
We have an onslaught of information. If you have a question about anything, the answer is at your fingertips. Whether it's the right answer or not is a whole other question. But I think we're self-editing and reflecting in real time in our generation. Whereas I think it sounds like you guys were very much just like in it in the moment. And there wasn't even a moment to wonder, is this right? You just did it, right? You just figured it out.
You figured it out.
And while we have that mentality, if even the smallest thing is going on with one of my kids or in my parenting, my gut is to like text my mom chat, text one of you guys, talk to my friends, check on Instagram, and see what are the answers? What are other people going through? So my question is there anything now in your parenting journeys that you deeply regret? Because our generation is, I think, very obsessed with how we are doing and maybe so much so that we're not necessarily even present. But as two people who are very present in parenting and very deep in it, was there anything now looking back that you wish you'd done differently?
It's been a long time since I was raising children. I didn't hear the word timeout, I think, until you had Ryan.
I gave him one time out.
I had never even heard of that.
Well, that's why he is the way he is. I'm just kidding.
One time out.
And I thought to myself, okay, whatever is going on, I have to handle it at the moment.
We didn't have all this incoming info from every which way, and we didn't start off doubting ourselves. I knew that my lifelong goal since I was 8 was to become a mom. And I babysat enough kids from 8 years old in the neighborhood out playing and as a teenager that I knew I would be a good mom. When certain things happen, you'll try different things with your child, but I didn't need 14 resources because you're always going to get 14 different opinions. And then you're going to doubt, well, if this one didn't work, maybe that was wrong. And what did that lead my kid to do or not do?
We also have to take into consideration the atmosphere of each individual home was different.
We didn't have self-doubt like that.
No.
So you have no regrets?
No.
We should just take a moment for that because that's pretty amazing. So let's go back to the timeout thing for a sec, because this is a very hot topic amongst my friends. Did you guys do timeouts? Did you ever hit? Did you do the go to your room? I honestly don't even remember being a kid.
Ryan had one timeout, but timeout was like not even a minute because a child at 2 years old doesn't really, it's going to seem like 100 years to them. And they're going to totally lose the plot on what this is all about.
So
you're going to sit, you're going to face the wall and think about the fact that you did this and you cannot do that.
Did it work?
And that was the end of it. And then there was a time he actually sent himself for a timeout because he was also a goody two-shoes.
Well, that didn't last too long. Did you watch the gentle parenting video that I sent you? Okay, so I'm sure many of you out there listening have seen this. If not, we're going to put it in the show notes. But it's this very viral clip of a millennial mother teaching her mother how to gentle parent with her own child as she's like the grandma babysitting. And it's very funny, but it's all about the, like, you can't say good job anymore and all of those small nuances. But I would love to know, like, this is, how do you, you're cringing, you have feelings. What are your feelings?
It's irritating.
Why?
Because it's not real.
And in the heat of the moment, if you've got maybe 2 kids, 3 kids, 4 kids, I don't have time to sit and say to you, blah, 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 blah. It might be, no, that's not happening now. and remove you from the situation, because that's what has to be for safety for somebody. In real life, people aren't going to talk to your kid like that. It's like schools who don't have deadlines. Well, when you get into the job world, your employers are going to have deadlines, and you can't say, well, in school we didn't have deadlines. So, you're smashing my glasses at my house. At your house, maybe that's okay, but it's not okay at my house. And it's not going to be a whole gentle thing. It's going to be, this stops now. We clean it up.
Yeah.
And that's it. Because as long as you're not like a really mean-spirited person, I think if you use common sense, things will be fine.
Did you ever feel like after you yell at your kids, like you have to, or that you should go back and kind of like repair what happened?
Or apologize?
So this is something that I've been reading a lot about, is this idea of repair. And when I snap and just kind of lose it on my 3-year-old, occasionally I'll yell or like raise my voice. And then after, I always feel pretty awful about it, because not that everyone should feel that way, but I personally just feel pretty awful, because I feel like I wasn't my best self in that moment. His job as a 3-year-old is to push the boundaries, to understand the world and make sense of it, and understand like what is okay and what's not okay. And that's his job. And my job is to show him what the boundaries are, and without losing my shit. And I think some days I just lose my shit faster than I would like to.
But that's normal.
Of course. And so I don't think I'm a bad mother for it, but I do wonder if sometimes when I do yell, that I wonder like, okay, how is he interpreting this? And then so I'll often go back and talk to him and say like, hey, before I was really frustrated because of X, Y, Z. So I just want to tell you that like I got really frustrated, and that's why I was yelling. But next time when I'm really frustrated, instead of yelling, I'm going to try to hit a pillow or like do something. I just feel like I wasn't my best self in that moment. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think about this, because I remember being yelled at, and I remember being yelled at by you guys, but also like Zadie and Dad, not in like a all the time getting yelled at way, but I never thought like, oh, this is bad.
Were you afraid?
I was a huge scaredy cat as a kid. So I was afraid sometimes, but never for my safety, only for like, oh, like, what have I done? This is scary.
I think it's normal.
Mm-hmm.
I also think it's normal to say, you know what? I know I yelled at you. I don't have to apologize. I have to say, you know what? I was feeling tired, or I was feeling angry because you did this and this. I was disappointed. I think if you talk about it rather than throwing yourself under the bus.
Yes, I agree.
Because it really is part of life.
What do you think, Mom?
Yeah, people annoy each other. Spouses annoy each other, and they yell at each other. The kids yell at each other. And the reality is, I think, as Bubbie said, you don't throw yourself under the bus.
I remember if we wanted something, Dad, I don't know if you're listening to this, but like when we wanted something badly and we knew you wouldn't budge, we'll go to Dad, because he would have historically been slightly less firm on the boundary. And I think it's important for kids to actually get a little bit of both. But I think if you only have one and it's too loose, then your kids are running the show. And then I think there is that lack of like psychological safety where like they want someone to actually be in control. Yeah. And so they need that. But then also having, I hate this term, the fun parent, because that's not what it is, but it's the more lenient one. But like, how have you guys thought about that relationship between the fun or like the more lenient versus the more strong boundary holder? And which one were each of you?
I was definitely the strong one, but I don't remember, was Dad strong?
No, but we didn't go to him to get whatever. Well, I for sure did not.
Wait, why for sure did not?
I don't recall feeling there were things I was trying to get or do.
No.
That would have been pushing your boundary.
Did you ever push a boundary with your mom?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
She was goody two-shoes.
Even to this day?
To this day.
Actually, that brings me to a question that I wasn't going to ask you, but I now want to know. You're a parent for life.
Right.
Yes.
Do you still feel like you're a parent for life? How does it feel now? You both have adult children. Bubbie, you have great-grandchildren.
Right.
How do you think about what your role is as a mom in this stage of your life?
I don't look at Debbie and say, my daughter. I just look at her as an equal.
When did she get promoted? What about for me? What about us?
Like you like to push the boundaries, right?
Call me out in public.
Like, for example, you wanted to go on the trip to Montreal with Erin driving her family's van in the winter.
This is a high school story for context.
Yes.
I wanted to go on a road trip in the winter for like an 8-hour drive with my friend.
17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And I said no. And you didn't want to have that. And Dad and I were watching TV and you came in and you asked Dad, and I said to Dad, that's not happening.
Otherwise, you would have like, yeah, sure.
And then you
And it
proceeded
didn't
to put on
happen.
a whole show
I remember
as
very
to
clearly.
why.
I do remember that. And we
Do you
took a
remember
bus.
the show?
Yeah.
And we had to, we explained it to you and we said, this is how it is. We're your parents. We're doing this for your safety.
I appreciate it now as an adult because my kids are never going anywhere by themselves.
Yeah. So you used to try with little things, but overall, you guys were good kids.
How has your role as a mom changed now? You have 2 kids in their late 30s. What is being a mom now?
Being there if they have questions.
Support.
Was there a moment when your kids moved out and you were like, oh my God?
Yes, it was very strange. All of a sudden, I was cooking for 2 people, and I didn't know how to cook for 2 people anymore.
Yeah, I have a hard time. Having a hard time grocery shopping and cooking for 2 is still hard.
If you could give advice to parents who are in the early years now with young kids, who can't imagine the thought of their kids not living in their home, like what would you tell us?
Enjoy what you're doing at the time you're doing it. And there comes a time when the child themselves want to move out.
Mm.
I remember discussing it with my children, I think at some point, that this friend is moving out at 16, this friend is moving out at 18. I said, you'll move out when you move out. Well, when Debbie moved out, she was 25. So Malcolm said, I'm not moving until I was 25. So I said, fine. I didn't ask anybody to move anyway. So, you'll move when you're ready.
Yeah.
It was not something for discussion or that we said you had to do this. They were very responsible living at home. The 3 of them shared the telephone. We had a second line put in. Do you remember that?
They chipped in.
They chipped in and they paid for the second line so that when their father phoned to tell me he's coming home or he's not coming home for dinner, the line was free for the 2 of us.
Because there was no technology back then.
No,
There was no call anything.
Yeah. And I think actually the technology, can be a big problem these days.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What do you think about parenting in the generation of technology and AI?
To me, it's scary, actually.
I think it causes a lot of self-doubt. You guys don't,
Yeah.
like we had Dr. Spock. I had Dr. Spock and Penelope Leach. That's all we had.
Yeah.
And each other if there were things. And of course, the pediatrician. We didn't have a lot of self-doubt. And now you guys know you can look up anything on any kind of resource anywhere. And then and I worked with women who had kids before you who are just a bit older than you. And I was like, oh, my baby has this and this and this and this and this. How did you find all that out? Well, I looked it all up. And you know what? Just be a parent. Use your common sense. You're a mom. You're going to know what is good, is working, is your baby well or not. And I think from a parental side, I think that's over the top, making everybody doubt themselves a lot. And then there's a lot of conversation about what you guys are doubting about or not doubting about. And then I worry about it for kids needing to know how to be bored. Like sometimes it's just, I'm bored, Mom. Yeah, you are. Figure out something to play with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not entertaining you. I can't. I'm making dinner for us. And I shouldn't have to feel that, oh, I'm going to have to sit down and play with them because they're bored, but I need to make sure we have dinner for the family. So in some cases, kids aren't being allowed to figure out how to amuse themselves, entertain themselves. Parents would just walk in the store, hand the kids the phone, the iPad, whatever, and they could do their shopping for furniture for 2 hours. And the kids didn't say boo. I couldn't even communicate with the kids. The kids wouldn't even talk to us. Like I would say hello and there was no communication. So I worry about that because they're not teaching kids how to be social.
I think on the one hand, I agree that it's too much very often, and that, like to your example of that woman you worked with looking for answers about her child, that can be detrimental. It can be confusing. You can get the wrong answers. I also think it can be amazing. It can save lives. It can communicate things that you never might have known, especially for families who are dealing with more like rare, interesting challenges. I think there's a lot of resourcing out there. To me, at least it's just not really that black and white, because it would be both a luxury to have much less information, but also we'd have much less information. Like think about how much more we know about childhood development now, or how to even like feed ourselves as humans in the right way, and what technology has opened up for us. And I'm definitely very much like a victim to it, but also a huge advocate of it at the same time. And I think as a mom, if I strip things back, it's both been really crucial to the way that I've learned how to watch out for like, red flags. Like when my daughter was really sick a couple of months ago and her breathing was off, my first thought was like, okay, I can read this in words of like what to look for. But to see a video on Instagram of another kid having respiratory distress was really useful, because then I was like, oh, she doesn't have respiratory distress. I watched 5 videos of alleged respiratory distresses, triangulated them all, and was like, okay, I don't think she has it. But it obviously, I'm not a medical professional. Neither are those people most of the time, but some of them are. But even still, it's great to have that extra resource. But I think it can also be very dangerous when used incorrectly. I could have also been watching fake respiratory distress videos, who knows, and then been like, oh, she's fine, go to bed, she dies. Or, you know what I mean? Like, I'm being a little bit dramatic, but I just find that our generation has this added parenting challenge of information for the good and for the bad.
Sometimes I think it feels like everything that happens needs to be checked out.
Like an over-disgust of everything,
and it doesn't have to be.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to do some rapid fire questions,
Sure.
which I know you...
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, I'm just going to give you some like quick things. Just respond with whatever comes to mind. Okay. Do you believe in crying it out, which is when you let your baby cry to help them fall asleep?
No, never.
You can say it, Mom.
No. I already told. Yeah, I told you.
Actually, I would never do that.
Do you believe kids under age 6 should have chores?
Yes.
What age do you think chores should start?
Anytime even when they're crawling and putting away toys, it starts then.
Yeah.
Great.
And then household chores, you were 3.
Did you ever hide in the bathroom and cry?
I don't think so.
Did you ever have another equivalent of that? Like screaming into a pillow, hiding into a closet, running outside to like take out the garbage, but actually...
I think I did that when my children were out of the house. I did. I remember once going into the closet and screaming, and I came out and I laughed. And I was just wired. I have no idea why or when or what, but I do remember doing that once, but not when I had children.
No.
Oh
man.
No, I think we felt that it was important to be a good mom.
And good mothers don't cry in the closet?
No. I think it's just...
We were tired, but
we were exhausted. There were times I fell asleep on the floor with you and Ryan crawling all over me and driving your cars on me. But
we didn't. No.
Did you ever feel like you were failing?
No.
Did you ever think...
Do we sound really like stuck up?
Yeah, you guys are the worst.
Miss Goody Two Shoes, you could say.
What gave you the most confidence in motherhood?
Did he stop to think about it?
No, didn't think about it. We got on with the job. We if there were any medical things, quickly check Dr. Spock. This is a call to the pediatrician.
Yeah.
Were you happier before kids, after kids, or was it equal?
But I would say after, because I felt like I was getting part of my dream, the biggest part of my dream from 8 years old to be a mom and have a family and take care of a family.
That's so interesting. I had never thought of it.
What do you think?
Every age, for me, I think every age had its good and bad.
Yeah, as somebody approaching 90 in a couple of weeks.
I can't believe this.
Do you have like a happiest you've ever been age?
I think I was very happy the day I got married. At the age of I had just turned 20 years old. I can't say I remember. It's really funny.
We don't mark everything in time. We don't, like to your question of how do you prepare somebody to be able to let their kids go when they go to school? I don't think we did that. I think we lived in the moment. It was time for you to go to university. You chose to go out of town. We were excited for you.
Yeah.
we didn't like, oh no, like other people we know who's like, oh my God, she's left. She's never going to see her again. And I'm, yes, we're going to miss you, but we're excited for you to have this adventure.
Experience.
So we didn't have that whole thing. And I don't think we mark life generally so specifically with, was there a happiest time or was there a,
Okay.
yeah, I don't think we do.
I don't think I did.
I have one more rapid fire.
Sure.
If there's one thing you could give me feedback on as a mother, what would you tell me?
Oh my gosh.
Try not to do everything.
Yes.
Try not to do everything.
Okay.
I mean, that's a lot. And I know you mean well, and I know you're very capable, and you understand so much more than you think you do.
Yes.
I really think you know a lot. And enjoy life, because before you turn around, it's gone.
What about you, Mom?
I think keep up the great work.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're just like awesome with the kids.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Thanks. Thank you all for being here. Thank you to my mom and my Bubbie for spending time and prepping. For those of you not watching the video, there are pages and pages of pages. Because it's funny how you can be so deeply in the thick of something for a good portion of your entire life and then suddenly not remember anything about it. My biggest takeaway from today is that every generation has had its parenting challenges. And this is not one of those episodes where we're going to say, go follow our guest or do anything like that. But I think the biggest gift that this has given me is just talking to these wonderful women about their lives as mothers and our lives as family. And I think everyone should do this. I mean, you probably don't have your own podcast, but if you do, I highly recommend. If not, I would say take time to sit down and have a cup of coffee or maybe a glass of wine and ask those questions, because I learned so much today, and that's coming from someone who sees these people all the time and talks parenting all the time. So thanks for being here. And I hope it just gave you some comfort in knowing that no generation truly has anything figured out. And I think if there's one big takeaway for me, it's just that we should have the confidence that we're doing a really wonderful job, because I think we are the first generation who's parenting so deeply in public under so much scrutiny. And every generation before us has done it more privately and still known that they're doing wonderful. So we are doing great. Okay, guys. Here's the thing. A really unhinged, crazy thing happened to me a couple weeks ago parenting, and I want to know what is going on in your world. And Esther and I are really curious to tell your stories, either anonymously or not. So if you have a parenting story to share where you're like, holy shit, I can't believe I did that, or I never thought I would be that kind of parent and I did X, please let us know. You can email us at hello@wearedoinggreatpod.com, or you can DM us on Instagram or TikTok, and we can bring you on to record a brief story, or we can just tell your story for you if you don't want to come on live.
We have talked to so many experts at this point, but I also want to talk to the real experts who are like the parents.
That's you guys listening. So let us know. Shoot us an email, ping us, DM us, hello@wearedoinggreatpod.com. Let us know if you want to share your story. It can be a sentence. It can be 5 minutes. Tell us what your parenting journey's been like. Okay, and that's the pod. But please don't go anywhere yet. Don't press any buttons. Before you go, we want to remind you that We're Doing Great is brought to you by Poc Poc, an award-winning company reimagining how kids play and learn using technology. If you appreciated this episode, please give us 5 stars so other parents can come find us too. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Come find us on Instagram and TikTok at We're Doing Great Pod. We would love to talk to you and learn from you and just chat and be friends. And until then, don't forget, you're doing great.